brings things back to the Ukraine to help support his parents. Fresno, California's Robert Gibbs isn't the biggest bodybuilder, but once his deep muscle cuts and striations get on stage, you'd never guess he weighed under 180 pounds. Rob has worked hard on the weights for several years, but only needs to diet a mere 7 days preparing for a contest. Of course, this doesn't seem so strange when you find out his older brother is professional Flex Wheeler.
They tell me that I look so much like him. We have the same genetics and all that, so that, I guess the genetics and him being my, our genetics looking the same, and, he's my half-brother, so that makes us full brothers.
2 years ago, Brian the Mink Minker ventured from the hot desert community of La Quinta, California, to win the Musclemania Teenage Division. Now 21 years old, Brian is much bigger and has occasionally continued to train in a powerlifting style to build muscle density. He's a student and works as a personal trainer. Winning the novice lightweight division was Mike Lassig of Temecula, California. He was originally encouraged to start lifting weights for sports by his father, ironically an accomplished marathon runner. And like his father, Mike never lets his physique lose that lean, conditioned look.
Well, one of the reasons why I stay lean in the off-season is because I make a lot of river trips with all my friends, and I like to look good for all the girls, obviously. And I don't know, if I go out there looking all bloated and fat, I won't catch too many eyes, so that's why I stay pretty lean.
Once a minor league baseball.
I want to know that I want to wake up.
Worthy of a second look. Konstantin Rozanov recently immigrated from the Ukraine to Chicago. He moved to America to become a better bodybuilder, but already Konstantin was a former two-time national champion. And although bodybuilding is more sophisticated in America, Konstantin has found that it's just as financially challenging, especially since he sends a big portion of his earnings back to the Ukraine to help support his parents. Fresno, California's Robert Gibbs isn't the biggest bodybuilder, but once his deep muscle cuts and striations get on stage, you'd never guess he weighed under 180 pounds. Rob has worked hard on the weights for several years, but only needs to diet a mere 7 days preparing for a contest. Of course, this doesn't seem so strange when you find out his older brother is professional Flex Wheeler.
They tell me that I look...
You never, and after we talked to him in some length, in time he began to believe it.
As a correctional officer, seeing the size of the muscular inmates he was guarding 4 years ago was all the motivation Cedric Gant needed to beef up. Since he varsity lettered in 5 sports in high school and played college basketball, his body had quite an athletic base. Still, Cedric discovered that natural bodybuilding is truly the most challenging sport of all.
Being natural, the food, you have to eat right a lot more, and the supplements, the protein powders, it's a lot harder to try to select a good stack that works for you as of the...
Great novice competitors, but Mike edged out a victory by 1 point. You can be sure they'll face off again next year in the open division. For the natural bodybuilder seeking out a rewarding competition experience, Musclemania is clearly the right decision.
Prep.
Natural bodybuilding. The phrase means different things to different athletes. To some, it means training without the use of any athletic enhancing supplements. To others, it means not just using steroids before a competition. But for many bodybuilders, natural bodybuilding means being a lifetime natural athlete. No drugs at any time. Well, at the recent AMBC U.S. Natural Championships in Boston, the astounding quality of physiques made a strong statement as to how advanced natural training and supplementation have become. The junior division for those 23 and under hit the stage first, beginning with former Musclemania teenage champion and junior Olympic champion Jay Jalett in third place. Winning the junior short class in the overall was Mike Strano, a former 98-pound high school wrestler who started training to bulk up for high school football. He utilized the newly popular high-fat diet to get into this condition. Joseph Sumrell is busy as a musician when he's not training, and to date he's recorded 3 CDs. The father of 2 sons is also devoted to his religion and strives to be a better person rather than simply bettering his physique. John Thompson surprised everyone, including himself, by winning the Masters Division title after a 4-year competitive break. Just a few months before, he was overweight at 280 pounds and didn't know if he'd be able to get in shape for this contest. Well, 65 pounds later, victory was his for the taking. Well, you see a new competitor with potential that foretells of future greatness. Frank Montalvo is a postal worker from West Hartford, Connecticut, who was inspired by his uncle and brothers to join them in the bodybuilding lifestyle. With 16 years of martial arts and weightlifting experience, this was his second time at the U.S. Naturals.
I think I came in harder, a little bit more size this time than I did the last time I competed. So I concentrated on that over the past year by training heavy and doing, my aerobics, watching, when I'm eating more, especially as it gets closer to competition time. Time.
Mike D'Angelo should be a familiar face to ESPN viewers. This exercise physiologist from Boston went all the way to California to compete in Musclemania just 1 week after this show. He won the short class by virtue of his lean condition and racehorse caliber legs. Another man who's been seen on ESPN is Greg Rando from Arlington, Massachusetts. Despite being blind, Greg has made more improvements in his few years of bodybuilding than most sighted people ever could hope for in a lifetime. In fact, Infinity Nutrition agreed and recently signed him up to an endorsement contract. When you realize that he can't even see the weights that he's using and poses totally by the feel of his muscles contracting, his accomplishments seem even more exceptional. Greg and Mike met their match in tall class winner John Lodespato, who began bodybuilding as a means of survival on the rough streets of Crown Heights, Brooklyn. The electronics technician is still tough. Try swimming every winter weekend in the Atlantic Ocean. Greg and Mike were good, but it was John who the judges awarded the overall title. For those who think the best aid of steroids, the ANBC U.S. Natural Championships is proof that hard work, genetics, and knowledge are creating natural physiques previously thought unattainable. For American Muscle, I'm Ron Jackson. Flex Magazine.